Variable costs on a per unit basis. What's that graph look like? It's another horizontal line because variable costs are fixed on a per unit basis. Kylie, what's fixed costs on a per unit basis? What's it look like? Convex or concave? You don't remember? Is it? Yeah, it curves. From your perspective, it curves down, right? That is what. Is that concave or convex? Concave. Because it's a cave to where? It's not a cave to the origin, right? It's the backwards cave to the origin because it's curved towards the origin. Yeah. Does that mean it's concave because it's caved towards the origin? I ask this every semester. I've received this answer 10 to 15 times. Is it concave or convex, though? Mathematically, it's one or the other. Is it not? It's concave. Why is it concave?
Because when it faces the origin, it's sloping inward toward the origin. That's concave. And so convex would be outward against the origin.
Away from the origin. That is. Okay. Good. So if it's kind of caved in, if you will, towards the origin, it's concave. Okay.
And you think about number ones, too. The numbers are going to be smaller towards the origin. So
Caved. Caved, not vexed. Numbers that are smaller towards the origin are caved, not vexed, as it were. Concave, convex.
Put it that way. Use everybody.
Thankfully, I don't teach math, right? I just teach algebra. I know. I consider myself lucky. I consider myself lucky that I don't teach math, and I consider myself lucky that I don't teach financial accounting. Because this is more fun. Because there are no rules. There's just kind of calculations and good information and not so good information. Kristen, have we covered everything on that page? I cannot hear you. You think so? Is there something on the next page that maybe we should review? Like, what is the relevant range, Kristen? That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing. Say again? Precisely correct. The range over which cost relations hold true. And then on the next page, we defined what? What kind of cost did we define on the next page, Brett? Total cost. What does a total cost line look like, Will?
It's total cost equal variable cost per unit multiplied by x plus fixed cost.
You gave us the cost function. He gave us the cost function very correctly, right? Total cost equals variable cost per unit times x, which is volume, plus fixed cost. So he gave us the generic version of the cost function. Describe the line, though, on an XY plane, Nicole.
it starts above the origin and goes up at a 45 degree.
Not necessarily a 45 degree, just at a constant angle. At a constant angle. And so it differs from Evan's line in that it starts above the origin, as you said. It starts above the origin, is a straight line at a constant angle of going up. Very good. And then, Rebecca, what is the form of the cost function? General form of the cost function? Y equals mx plus b, and I would like to hear repeated what Will told us, Alex.
Total cost equals variable cost per unit times x plus fixed cost.
Yes. So that's the general format of the cost function. If you're actually creating a cost function that has a couple of numbers in it, which of those variables are represented as numbers? If you're asked to create a cost function, Tyson, which of those variables have numbers in a cost function? And? Huh?
The M, the B, and the 1.
Just two of the, there's only two.
Well, I guess the M and the B.
The M and the B. The M and the B. So a cost function will have an M in it, variable cost per unit, and the B in it, fixed cost. Because remember, those are the two numbers that we can pull off a regression analysis remember the regression analysis that we printed off? Those are the two numbers that we can literally just pull off of there, slap into the y equals mx plus b formula, and then use it to do what? What can we use that formula to do, Rubina? I'm sorry? To what the fixed cost?
You say, what can we use the formula to use?
Yes, what can we use? Once we've got the formula and we've got m and b filled in, what can we use that formula to do? Mike? Figure out total cost, which is, in effect, predicting the future. We can use it to predict the future in kind of an easy. And how do we predict the future using this formula, Tony? Plug in number where? Which number is the one that we're most likely going to be plugging in? Which number is the one that we are most likely going to be plugging in? No, because that's already in the formula. Because we've got variable cost per unit in the formula and, I'm sorry? X, volume. Exactly right. X volume is the one that we're going to insert. And then we're going to, excuse me, calculate total cost. Okay, there are three ways, Mr. Mittelhauser, to kind of go about creating a cost function. Name one, the first one that we named in class. Is that the first one we talked about in class? Is it the first one on the list?
Scatter plot.
Yes, scatter plot. Do you not have scatter plot written down? Ah, over here. This is what I'm after. I'm after this list on page 162. So what's the first one?
Scatter plot.
Scatter plot. What's the second one, Jennifer? The high-low method. Brandon, what's the third? Regression analysis. Scatter plot method, do you need to know how to do it, Mike?
Regression?
No, scatter plot.
I don't think so.
No, you do not need to know how to do scatter plot. Okay, note to self, not on test, but you do have to recognize it as one of the ways to do this. Okay, so you have to know it exists. It just involves plotting the points on an XY plane and eyeballing it and drawing a line through it. So you need to know that the method exists, but you don't need to mechanically know how to do it. Okay, so the first one that we learned how to do in class, and this is really what Mr. Mittelhauser was answering. We learned how to do two ways in class. What was the first one we learned how to do in class, Matt? High-low method. This is a relatively straightforward, hopefully relatively easy calculation. Scott. When we're doing the high-low method, we're picking the high and low what? Activity in dollars. Which comes first, the activity or the dollar? Activity. So we're picking the activity and the corresponding dollars. And so it literally means conceptually what you are doing is picking the high and low point, right? There's a whole bunch of points plotted on an XY plane, and you are picking the high and the low points, which is why you pick the high and low activities, and you're picking the high and low points based on their activities. So you're picking the high and low activities, and then the corresponding dollar amount. So you're getting the X and the Y for the same 2 points, okay? If you just kind of look down the list and find the high dollar amount, low dollar amount, high activity, low activity, without paying attention to whether or not they're connected, you can and will get the problem wrong. And me being the warm-hearted professor that I am will make sure that that's one of the